In March 2025, Aaliyah Samuel was in Durham, North Carolina. Her son, 14 years old, was visiting his first college campus. It should have been a moment of joy. But at 7 a.m., her phone rang.
I got a call from my VP of policy, and she said, Aaliyah, you've got to see this FAQ that just dropped. It is essentially saying SEL is discriminatory and outlawing SEL. We said, it's time to go. And we knew at that moment it was no more games being played. We had to come out and come out strong.
This was not a drill. For over a year, Aaliyah and her team at CASEL had been preparing for a moment like this. 2 scenarios, 2 playbooks, 1 strategy: stand firm when the attacks come. Welcome to the NewSchools podcast, a podcast from NewSchools Venture Fund. I'm your host, Jen, and in this series, we'll spotlight the leaders building a better future for students while navigating one of the most dynamic moments in public education. Today's episode brings you the story of 2 women, Aaliyah Samuel, President and CEO of CASEL, and Skye Perryman, President and CEO of Democracy Forward, who are meeting a moment of political backlash with courage, clarity, and community. At the 2025 NewSchools Summit, Frances Messano, our CEO, delivered a clear message. This moment calls for courage. She challenged the field to lead boldly in the face of uncertainty, and then invited Aaliyah and Skye to the stage to show us what that looks like.
We don't choose the moment when we have to lead boldly or courageously. The moment chooses us.
It's a sentiment both women know deeply.
We began prepping to see what rights people and communities and educators and parents and students and teachers would have should the federal executive seek to dismantle the Department of Education, seek to remove so many of the progress that we've made.
As a civil rights attorney and head of Democracy Forward, Skye had spent months preparing legal strategies for a wave of executive actions targeting education, equity, and access. Her team anticipated the moves and stood ready to act. In early 2025, when the government attempted to freeze federal funding for basic services, meals, early childhood programs, school supports, Skye's team mobilized.
Over the past 100 or so days, our organization has filed more than 60 legal actions, including winning court orders that had blocked the enforcement of the so-called Dear Colleague letter.
Meanwhile, Aaliyah had her own battle to fight. At CASEL, she was watching the politicization of social-emotional learning unfold in real time.
There was a series of national tweets that started to go out saying SEL was a Trojan horse for critical race theory.
She'd already faced cyber attacks, public doxing, a security warning before a national education conference. Aaliyah recognized this as a turning point, but not just for her.
We knew there were 2 different pathways we had to prepare ourselves for. And we did. We said, okay, there's scenario A, scenario B. We've got to be ready to go for either one. Well, once it was clear which scenario we had to work under, we were ready.
Rather than retreat, Aaliyah and her team moved. They built a coalition of 45 national organizations, educators, parents, associations, aligned and ready. When the federal FAQ dropped, they launched a coordinated response within 48 hours.
You know, it's one of those moments as a leader where you kind of have that pit in your stomach because you're like, this is the point where you can no longer hide and you have to be ready for whatever is going to come.
And it worked. One state chief wrote Aaliyah to say that because of her public statement, they felt empowered to tell local superintendents to continue their work, impacting hundreds of schools.
The cost of inaction is just so much greater than acting in this time, because the world that we are fighting for is a world that can transcend.
Both leaders made it clear, preparation matters, strategy matters, but so does the personal toll.
That right now we cannot move with emotion, we have to move with strategy. And while everyone else may be playing checkers, we have to look at this as a game of chess.
This is what courage looks like in 2025. Not just resilience, not just survival, but deliberate collective action.
When you are tired, it's time to rest, but don't quit. If you got to tap out, this is a relay and you can hand it to somebody else, but we're not going to quit.
The conversation ended with a reminder for all of us, from educators to funders to advocates.
Refuse to be isolated, defy attempts to polarize you, and build community, because that is what is going to create the courage to move forward.
And from Aaliyah,
send that text to that leader, make that phone call, give them a hug, encourage them, because without community, we will fail. So we need each other more than ever.
Thanks for listening to the New Schools podcast. For more stories and insights from the field, visit newschools.org or click the link in our show notes. Until next time, keep going and go together.